I was very fortunate, and this may be for the parents more than the kids that are listening, but I was very fortunate to have mom and dads that let me dream. Like, I didn't have parents that shut me down and say, no, you can't do this, you can't do that, you're going to work at the gas station, we got bills at the house. They let me dream and they let me go for it, and that gave me confidence to go for it. And so, to you parents out there, I understand responsibility comes first. There are bills to be paid, but give them a balance. Maybe they can still go for their dreams and still help out in the household, because, you know, it's crazy the influence that parents can have on kids in a positive or in a negative way. I was very fortunate to have parents that were positive with me.
What's up, everyone? You're tuning into the Diamond Strong Podcast. It's where you come feeling good and you leave feeling great. The action starts now.
That's what I'm gonna tell him.
Busy is good, bro.
I'm gonna tell him later what happened.
Bro, so let's start with golf then. Let's start with golf, bro. What's up? Where did that start? And when did you really fall in love with it? And when are you gonna take on Charles Barkley with that sorry swing?
It's funny because I've actually played with Charles before. So my dad got into golf maybe like 2 years ago, and so my pops was like, you know, Los, you ain't got shit going on. Why don't you pull up and come play golf with your old man? I'm like, let's go. So I went out there. He lives in Coral Springs, so I drive up there. We play golf. And I'm terrible. Like, I hit the ball, it's slicing. I didn't even know the word for when it goes this way. I'm like, it's slicing.
The slice.
Yeah, and I'm pulling it this way, and then I'm horrible. So I'm like, Dad, I got to get better at this. So, and then COVID happened, right? So this is like in the middle of COVID. So I stopped playing. I'm going jet skiing more, and I'm going to the beach. You know, we live in Miami.
Get in the water.
Yeah, if it's hot outside, I'm trying to get a tan. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to look like this one day. You know what I mean? So I ended up going to the beach, and I kind of fell off it, and then I think me and David went to go play golf, and then I got all these people hitting me up like, oh my God, you play golf, come to my event, come to my golf tournament, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, damn, I got to get better at this. So then I started playing really like 7 months ago. I started getting serious.
Isn't it crazy how much like business and golf go together?
Yeah, because every time I'm on a golf course, I'm talking biz. Like we went golf to Mexico, and everybody that we golfed with was trying to pitch me on something or talked about real estate here or this deal there. And it's just cool how it intertwines, because golf is one of the most frustrating, rewarding type of games, because you may struggle the whole game, but you hit that one ball that brings you back tomorrow, right? And then at the same time, it's not just you. So he may be better than me, you may be better than me, but I can get lessons and get better. And then he has his own. It's like you and the course. Yeah. So we're all on our own journey trying to get better at this one game. And then you're going to meet business people who want to put you in deals. So it's pretty cool.
Yo, I mean, bro, we were talking about it. It's like, yo, where else can you have a 4-hour meeting with somebody and you can't go nowhere?
Yeah. You're stuck. We got to chop it up. We got to talk.
You got to talk. And maybe you're like, all right, hey, maybe not right at the instant, but I'll start bringing stuff up as we get to the 4th, 5th, 6th, maybe 2-3 drinks in.
Right, 100%. What's the drink I put you on? The infusion. Transfusion. I don't know. It's fire, bro.
Really?
Yeah.
One of our caddies when we went to Trump.
Yeah.
Was it the caddy or no? So Shane Battier told him.
He told me about it.
We went on a week on a binge where we fucking golfed
4 or 5 days in a row.
Yeah. So he golfed with Shane.
Yeah.
Literally the day before, and he
put me on this transfusion.
We went to the Trump, and he's like, "Yo, get the transfusion. We got this shit." And it's literally the best golf day drink
of all time.
But what is it?
It's like vodka, grapefruit juice. What else is in that thing?
What's the sparkling thing? Not tonic water, the other one?
Like
sparkling
beer,
water?
Ginger beer.
Yeah.
It's so good, bro.
Yeah.
Oh.
And for like when you're on the golf course, it gets you like calm, so you're not like overthinking your shot, but you're also having a blast.
Yeah.
It calms you.
It's funny how he said like the whole like the real estate deals and the golfing, because it's like golfing is real estate. You're on land.
Yeah, literally.
So you're talking real estate while you're seeing real estate. Like when we went to Mexico, there was a lot of that. Like after that, he was just like, this fucking lot is, it looks like nothing now, but it's like these guys are thinking of doing while we're on the golf course seeing a lot. So it was kind of like, it was dope.
Can you explain to me the story of the guy? Didn't somebody pop off on some real estate in the middle of a round?
Oh yeah, the dude that bought the was it the 4 million, 6 million, the lot?
What?
So one of the dudes we played not against, but he was in the group of golfers. He popped off on the land, like he bought the
in the middle of the round. In the middle of the round,
in the middle of his. Well, it was his round against whoever else. So we were in Paris. So the dude in our break You mingle with everybody else.
You mingle with
and
everybody.
And the dude, while I was getting a drink, was telling the other dude about the deal. He stopped the middle of the round and popped off, fit in, I guess.
Then another property that was on the beach that was like a $42 million property closed for $38 million while we were playing golf.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was an experience. It was a real.
Most of the guys were like 100 millionaires, a couple billionaires. Like the place that we went to was Costa Palmas. It's like a 4 Seasons resort in Cabo San Lucas.
Yep.
They have like Leonardo DiCaprio stays there. Like he has a place there. Russell Westbrook has a place he's building there. We went to go see his property. A lot of people.
Whole thing, yeah.
How important is it for you? Obviously, you've been ultra successful, bro. Like,
Thank you, man.
You know, both in your career, financially, and stuff like that. But how important is it for you to still surround yourself with people that maybe have more knowledge to give you? Like, is that still a priority for you?
Yeah, that's always been that way for me. Like, I remember being a kid, being a jit, being a shorty, and my dad would have me around smarter people, older guys. I was playing with older guys who were more physical, so that way when I played against high school guys, it wasn't like I could play against y'all all day because I'm playing against men on the weekend.
Yeah.
And so I took that lesson when I got to college, and Coach K did a great job of showing us how to network. You know what I mean? Like this, the brotherhood reaches outside of the basketball, outside of sports. It's in business, it's in other avenues when you graduate. And so I was always able to maneuver in those realms because I felt like if I'm around smarter people, I'll become smarter. And I got kids. I got 4 kids, so I'm trying to pass these lessons on to them. Like, you know, you never know who you're going to meet. Be nice to everybody. Take their card, get their number, because later on in life, like I played 15 years in the league, retired, and now I'm doing crazy business deals in real estate. And a lot of it's because I kept those people's cards and I reached out to them like, do you want to be involved? Do you want to be involved? So I feel like always put yourself in a room where you can learn. Be around people who know more than you so that way you can gain knowledge and then you can pass it down to your kids. That's where I'm at.
Yeah.
I feel like that's kind of like how we got like the friendship we got because his boys obviously, you know, play basketball and baseball, but they all at one point played baseball. So he had to learn baseball. Or understand it.
Yeah.
And like our friendship came in whereas certain things were happening. More like when the Twins were still playing, like certain situations come up and I would tell him, Booz, this is happening because of this. And he's like, oh, but like if this happens, and he was learning the sport. So he was also learning why certain kids were bunting or hitting the ball. Yo, that was on purpose. He tried to move the run, you know?
Right.
And so he's learning baseball. Even now, at a more professional, like watching you here, like now he saw him as kids and he sees those same situations at this level and the pro level.
Isn't it crazy that a lot of people talk about kids that are very talented and stuff like that, and of course they're talented, but they stop themselves from wanting to learn more. But like it seems like you've done the opposite. No matter how talented you've been, no matter what you've gone through, you're still like, hey, I'm humble enough to say, bro, I don't know crap about baseball. Let's learn, though. Yeah. Like, I don't know crap about golf, but I'll learn.
Like,
Golf, he's the same way, too. He's like, yo, this shot is this. He's the same way.
My oldest son, Carmani, fell in love with baseball early, like 8, 9 years old. So he's the reason why the Twins were playing baseball, because Big Brother played baseball. And I'm like, even though I played a little bit as a kid, I don't know like the intricacies that he talked about.
Of course.
The mind games, the chess moves that are being played. I just know like it's a fun game. I love watching it. I'm a huge Yankees fan. That was the only team that was on TV when I was a kid in Alaska. They were always on TV. So because of him and because of the boys, I had to learn. I had to ask questions to people who knew more. You guys played it, so I'm asking questions. Like, how did it, like even right now, as my son's being recruited, I'm asking him tons of questions about what's the move to get recruited, who do I reach out to, because I didn't go through that process. Like it was a different process for me in basketball.
The basketball recruiting is different from
it's so different. So
he's learning that now.
I just feel like to your viewers and the people that follow this podcast and watch, like I think one of the messages from this podcast that I want them to take away from is never be too big to learn more. Like be a guy that has a glass half full so you have room to pour into it. Like don't be afraid to ask a question. Don't be afraid to say, hey, I don't understand this, can you help me? Because knowledge is power. The more you learn, the more you gain, the more you can achieve, and the more you can share back to other people, which is where I'm at. I want to learn as much as I can so I can give it to my kids.
Yo, clip that, Rick. We're gonna clip that. We're gonna put that one on the gram, bro. That was a good. That was fire. All right, you've talked about it already, but can you take me back to when you were a kid? Obviously, you were born on a base, right?
Yeah.
Like, weren't you born on a base and then grew up in Alaska? Can you tell me a little bit about your upbringing and when did you really fall in love with sports? Was basketball your first love? What was your first love? Stuff like that.
Yeah, so growing up, my dad was in the military. Mm-hmm. My whole family's from Washington, D.C., and my dad got in the military early, right out of high school. And me and my older sister were born in Aschaffenburg, Germany, on a U.S. military base in Germany. So it's funny because people be like, yo, so you German? I'm like, not really. I'm American because it was U.S. It was owned by the U.S. military, but I was born over there, so I could have dual citizenship, actually.
Geographically, you were born in Germany.
Right, correct. And then when I was about 8-9 months old, we moved back home to D.C. And then when I was about 8 or 9, we moved to Alaska, another place, obviously. So I'm moving around a lot as a kid. And then it was so different from D.C. Like, you know, in D.C. it's predominantly black people, African American people, and it's a concrete jungle, bro. And I go to Alaska and it's the opposite. There's mountains everywhere. There's people are fishing, camping, hiking, starting fires. I'm like, whoa! And it's not black people anymore. That's white people and Eskimos and Native Americans, and
that's past white over there.
Yeah, it's different. Like it's pasty. You know what I mean? You're not getting no tans up there. You know what I mean? People got tanning beds in the house.
No jet ski, my boy.
So no jet skiing, exactly. Right. So it's like it's two different worlds. And so that really, like, to be honest, Alaska opened up my mind, man. It like extended my perception of the world from what I was used to. And it was beautiful. You know, me and my sisters, I had 2 sisters that were born in Alaska. My brother was born in Baltimore. And then we all grew up in Juneau, Alaska, man. We know how to fish. We know how to hike, start fires. I became a huge nature lover. Like, he'll tell you, I love to snowboard. That came from my upbringing in Alaska.
That's right.
And then my dad put the ball in my hand when I was like 4. Oof. So I've been hooping for forever. I love basketball, but I did play everything. I played baseball. I played football. I ran track and field. I didn't do hockey because I wasn't that nice on the ice with the skates. But I would have tried it, but I just wasn't that good on the skates. And then maybe when I was like 12, I just fell in love with hoops, man. I'm like, I love basketball.
Did your pops play too?
Yeah, my pops played ball.
So
my dad was an All-American basketball player, All-American football player in high school.
Gotcha.
So his dad was in the military, so he was in D.C., then he was in California on a base, and he went to Japan. Like, he was moving around a lot in high school as well. But he got to California, and he got a chance to letter in baseball. In football and in basketball. Came back home to D.C., and then, actually, when I got to Alaska, my dad was playing in like the old men's league, like the 40 and up league.
Oh, he was still balling.
Got the MVP. I'm like, yo, pops is nice. Yeah. And so that's where my love for basketball came from my dad.
Dang, man, that's cool. Do you think that the fact that you did move around so much as a kid, maybe like that also helped you when you like got to the pros? You're like, oh, bro, like
I was used to traveling.
Yeah, you were used to that.
Yeah, I was used to traveling, and then at the same time when I was younger. You could play on any travel team that you wanted to. So I was in Alaska. My travel team was based out of California. So every summer I would fly down to Fresno, California with Motts and EBO, and our team was loaded. We had Matt Barnes and Deshaun Stevenson. These are all pros. Drew Gooden was on our squad. Like, we were over here flying around all over the country. So I was used to traveling since I was a baby. But in high school, like 13, 14, every summer we're going to LA, we're going to Vegas, we're going to New York, we're going to play tournaments.
And you're playing like
great
shit.
Guys. You're playing competition.
Yeah.
You ain't messing around.
Yeah.
Bro, how in the world do they find you in Alaska? Because we're not talking about recruiting. How the heck did they find you?
It's a great story.
You're way out there.
I'm deep. So, and this is before social media, guys. There was no like, yo, look him up on Instagram. Nah, you had to come get me.
You were sending letters or something, bro. The tapes.
There was a camp. I was like dominating middle school basketball in Alaska, and my mom and dad were like, we got to take him somewhere to get better. Like, he's really kicking everybody's butt up here. And so my mom and dad looked at this camp they found online. It was called Double Pump Camp, and it was in the hood. It was like in Carson, Dominguez Hills, like in L.A.
Okay.
It's on a campus called Dominguez Hills. So we go to campus, and I'm 13. We're walking around. There's Baron Davis, like the #1 player in high school. Jeez. Richard Jefferson's going to Arizona. Yeah. You know, Gilbert Arenas, like all these studs. I'm like, Chris Burgess. I'm like, yo, these motherfuckers can play. And I'm like, I'm a 7th grader about to be an 8th grader, and these dudes are like Lamar Odom's like a senior about to be like, he can go pro out of high school if he wanted to. That's how good he was. And I'm over here freaking out because I never heard of him, never seen him before, and I'm watching them play like, these motherfuckers is tough. So I have a game. My mom was with me. I think I had like 13 points and a couple of rebounds, like 5-6 rebounds, and whatever, like a mediocre game in my opinion. And then this travel team coach named Darren Matsubara, we call him Mats, long ass last name. We call him Mats. Mats comes over to my mom and is like, look, I know your son is a junior, but I know he's undecided. I think we can still get him a scholarship. And my mom goes, a junior? His name is Carlos Austin Boozer Jr., but he's in 7th grade.
Oh, they thought the junior was your grade.
Yeah, it was my grade. So he freaked out. He was like, "Oh my God, this kid's got so much talent, and he's only 13. He's only a 7th grade, about to be 8th grade." So he freaked out. He's like, "I would love y'all to come play on my team next weekend in Vegas. It's a tournament called the Big Time.
That's crazy.
My middle school team,
right? Where all the top scouts and everybody's gonna be there." And I was like, "I don't got money for that. I don't. What do you want me to do?"
Yeah.
So we get on the payphone. We call my pops, and my pops was like, "Rent a car. You're in LA. Drive 4 hours to Vegas. You'll be there. Blah blah blah." So we told Mats, he's like, "Yeah, we're in." So we're in a car. We drive to Vegas. This is all like on a whim.
Right.
We don't know shit about AAU. Don't know nothing about travel ball. This is like us just believing in God and Him opening up doors, and we just roll with it. So we go to Vegas. I play me and Deshaun Stevenson, who got drafted out of high school. He got drafted from by the Utah Jazz, 24th in the first round. This is back in like 99, 2000. So we're both like 7th graders, about to be 8th graders, and we got like Matt Barnes and a couple guys who are a little older than us. So we play maybe like 5 or 6 minutes. I go back to Alaska. Tournament's over. Go back to Alaska, and there's like a trash can full of letters that got sent by college coaches.
Crazy. Dang, bro.
That wanted me. It was like Cal State Fullerton and UCLA, and they were like, "Yo, this kid's 13 and he nasty," and they were like, "Yo, we love to recruit you," and I'm like, "Yo, what did we just do?"
What just happened?
And that just opened a whole new door.
One weekend, bro.
One weekend in California, man.
Wow, bro. And what was that? Isn't it crazy? Like the mindset of when you walked in through those doors and you're like, "Yo, this is intimidating."
I was intimidated, bro.
Right?
Oh, I'll tell you another story.
Go ahead.
So the first day I walk into the camp, I told you I'm seeing these tall 6'11" dudes that are playing like guards. I'm watching Baron Davis cross fools over and dunk on him, and he's a 6'2" guard. I'm like, I'm going up in Alaska. I don't see 6'2" dudes crossing dudes over
and jumping,
and doing windmills in a game, like going between them in a game. I'm like, yo, this is a video game. This is like, what?
This is Rucker Park.
This is crazy. These guys are all pros in my mind. So I leave the gym and I'm like, Mom, I can't go in there. Like, I'm not good enough. I'm not ready for this moment. And my mom was like, listen, if you weren't good enough, you wouldn't be here. My mom literally like injected confidence into me in that very moment. This is the day before I was gonna play. So I just got there early to see some of the older kids. So I pulled up and I was like, yo, dudes throwing off the backboard to themselves and smashing on dudes. I was like, I'm not that good. That's what in my mind. That's where I had like doubt. And my mom was like, listen, if you couldn't be here, we wouldn't be here. Like we didn't come all the way from Alaska to LA for you to go right the fuck back home. Yeah. Like I already spent too much money, son.
Yeah, you got no choice.
Get your ass in that gym.
Get in there, go ball.
And then my mom gives me that confidence. I go in the gym. I think I do all right, but to them I did amazing. And next thing you know, I'm on a travel team, and I got letters for offers.
So that was a turning point.
Yeah, and this is something else I want to say to people. I was very fortunate, and this may be for the parents more than the kids that are listening, but I was very fortunate to have mom and dads that let me dream. Like I didn't have parents that shut me down and say, no, you can't do this, you can't do that, you're going to work at the gas station, we got bills at the house. They let me dream and they let me go for it, and that gave me confidence to go for it. And so to you parents out there, I understand responsibility comes first. There are bills to be paid, but give them a balance. Maybe they can still go for their dreams and still help out in the household, because it's crazy the influence that parents can have on kids in a positive or in a negative way. I was very fortunate to have parents that were positive with me.
Yeah, man, I was blessed the same way, bro. And it's crazy that such an influence, that it's the biggest influence, man. You're in that home every day, bro. If they push you and they say, hey, it's possible, man. Yeah. It's actually possible. You're gonna go blindly. Yeah. And it's almost blind faith, right? You talk 100%. About God. It's having blind faith.
100%.
Like
we had no idea what AAU was.
It didn't matter either, right?
No, it was like, this just seems like the move. Mom, Dad, what do you think? Rent a car, go. And back then, we had the little calling cards. You get a calling card, you call from a payphone. We had cell phones. So this is I'm dating myself. He ain't that old, bro. I'm taking it way back for y'all. But yeah, it was literally blind faith, like just trusting that this was the move.
Wow, man. Yeah. All right, so now you have all these the trash bag of letters. Yeah. How do you start picking through them things, and how did Duke evolve?
Yeah, great question. So that's like 8th grade year, and
bro,
8th grade.
Eighth grade year.
Yeah, that was like.
And one of my questions that I written down was like, hey, you know, did you have the same like as your sons? You know, like you know, I guess yours started just as early, bro.
Yeah, early. So like 8th grade, I'm getting letters, and I don't know. I don't even know what it all means. I just love playing ball.
I wasn't sure what high school I was going to in 8th grade, bro.
Yeah, I did. Yeah,
I swear to God.
Yeah,
I didn't. I was between two high. I didn't know what high school I was.
So I'm over. We only had one high school. I was telling him outside.
Yeah, you didn't have to guess.
I had to worry about that. We had one high school on the island, bro.
That's crazy.
Look up Juneau, Alaska. See where I grew up at. But so we 8th grade, and I'm like, okay, let's just keep hooping and keep. My dad was big on development.
Yeah,
like, I don't care about the letters. You got to get better. Like these colleges want you, but they want you at 13 or 14. What are you going to do when you're 18? There's a whole gap between your 8th grade year and your senior year of high school. So they want you now because on your potential. Now you got to start realizing some of that. But we got to go to work.
Yeah.
So my dad was big on it. But every day after school, I get my homework done. They get off work at 5:30. We go to the park. We play. We practice. We play. We practice. And then I had a great high school coach named George Houston that also helped me develop. He gave me keys to the gym, let me work out whenever I wanted when I got to high school. I was very blessed to have that because some high school coaches are assholes and they won't give that to you. But he saw my drive and my hunger, and he let me come. I'd be in the gym at midnight if my dad would come with me. You know what I mean? So I was that kid. Like, the magic is really in the work. You guys could be very talented. You could have no talent. But if you work hard, like you guys heard that, so the old adage, like, hard work will outwork talent if talent doesn't work, right? Yeah. So no matter how talented you are, just put the work in. You never know you could be an artist, you could be a photographer, you could, whatever your passion is, put the work into it and see where it might take you. My passion was basketball, so I was always like, you want to be my girl? You down to rebound? I was that guy.
There you go.
You down to come to the gym? I got to go get 2 hours, and you want to rebound for me? Oh, no? Okay, cool. I'll see you next time.
You're my girl no more.
Yeah, like that. It was like, that's how important it was to me. Like, I wasn't letting nothing distract me from what I wanted. I wanted to improve. So I go from there to maybe like my sophomore, junior year, I ended up becoming the #1 player in the country. So I go from being like not ranked, not known, to being like top 500, which is a big deal.
Yeah, absolutely.
I was like top 500 as my freshman year. Sophomore year, I got to like 300. I broke the 300 mark, which is a big deal for me. And I went from 300 to #1 after my junior summer.
Bro.
I was dominating the whole circuit. I was like putting up crazy numbers. And then we're in Jersey at this camp called, it was an invite only top 100. It was called ABCD camp. It's run by Adidas and Sonny Vaccaro. That's the camp that LeBron was discovered at. The camp that Kobe Bryant was discovered at. No, the camp that Tracy McGrady was discovered at.
Melo was already like a high guy.
This is the camp where some of the legends of our game were discovered at. And so I'm there and I'm tearing up everybody, putting up like 30 and 20. Like dunking on fools, hitting threes, and then we make it to the championship game. I had TJ Ford as my point guard. He's like a freshman. It's like me, Brett. You guys might not know Brett Nelson. Brett Nelson was like white chocolate in high school. He put up like 40 a game, dropping dimes. White dude from West Virginia, just loved basketball.
Nice with it.
He went to Florida, played with like Udonis Haslem and Mike Miller and those guys at the University of Florida. Anyway, Google Brett Nelson, young boys. So I look over the sideline. I'm like, yo, I look like Coach K. And I'd always, seen him on TV. This is like our era of John Wooden. You know what I mean? I'm like, yo, he's at our game. So I go over to Mott's, who's my travel team. I said, yo, is that Coach K? Yeah, that's Coach K. He's here to see you. I said, you probably, you capping me right now, right? You gassing me right now, right? He's like, nah, he really wanted to see you in person. I was like, say less. So I dropped like 45 in the championship game.
That's crazy.
Bananas.
You ain't passing.
No, I was like, bro. TJ. I said, TJ,
give me the ball, clear it out.
I got you. You're gonna have 20 assists tonight, just like that. This is in the warm-up line. I said, TJ, I'm gonna give you 20 assists tonight. He goes, say less. That's what he's a point guard. This TJ Ford, by the way. He won like undefeated in high school. Went to Texas, like top 5 pick in the draft. Played with Kevin Durant, TJ Ford. Exactly, Texas legend. So I destroy. After the game, my mom gets a call from Coach K and the staff, and it's like, yo, we'd love to recruit your son. And I was like, yo.
You know what's kind of like jittery about this, bro? Just like last week, I saw that new Air Jordan movie. And it was kind of similar, like how the dude from Nike flew to Jordan's house.
Yeah.
I'm like, damn, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, over here.
Yeah. So then at that point in time, I'm #1 in the country. Had a great summer. I got like UCLA, North Carolina, Duke, Syracuse, Kentucky, you name it. They're all like coming to my house for the official visit. Like in basketball, you can have 10 people come do visits to your house. So I had John Thompson at Georgetown. I had Jim Boeheim at Syracuse. Roy Williams at that time was at Kansas.
Ooh.
I had Kentucky in the building. I had everybody. And I had, after every interview, me and my parents in our small apartment in Alaska, I had questions like, you know, they would do their pitch on why I should come to their school, and I would be like, you know, I don't know, like, what's the academics like, or, you know, what's campus life like, or who am I going to be playing with, or will I be starting, or I had questions. Yeah. Coach K comes, very efficient. He comes with Quinn Snyder, who's now the head coach of the Atlanta Hawks. Quinn Snyder and Coach K are sitting in my living room, and he does his pitch, and he's telling me, and right away you can tell, like, this is a very family-oriented, you know, this is a family. Like, it's not just about me. And so he does his pitch, and at the end I'm like, yo, I got no questions. Oh. But I got challenged. So Coach K was the only coach in my house, in front of me and my mom and dad and my family, that was like, everything that you want, you're gonna have to earn. If you want to start, you're gonna have to earn it in practice. If you want an education, you're going to have to earn it in the classroom. If you want to go pro, you're going to have to destroy in the games. Like, I can put you in a position, but you got to earn everything you want at Duke. Nothing's going to be given to you. And meanwhile, every other school is like, yo, we'll get you a car. You don't have to go to campus. We'll get you money for your family. We'll fly your parents down. We'll get them a house in the area, get them jobs, 6-figure jobs. I was over here like, they're over here like trying to buy me. Yeah. And I was smart enough because of my parents to recognize that, and I was turned off. I'm like, my dad always told me, if somebody give you something for free, it ain't. They want something back in return. Yep. And so I got schooled on that early, and Coach K was like, nah, everything you want, you're going to have to earn. Right. And so I when he left the house, I told my mom and dad, I said, look, I'm not committing right now, but I got like goosebumps. Like I got challenged by somebody, and I haven't got challenged in a long time. I'm dominating everybody.
Yeah, you were the guy.
I was the fucking guy.
So everybody treated you like,
like everybody was kissing my ass. Yeah. And this guy wasn't. And he was like, I've had Grant Hill, and I've had pros that were number one picks and blah blah blah, Leitners and Elton Brands and whatever. And I'm like, damn, this is a guy that can really help me, not just on the basketball court, but as a man. And he doesn't know this. But that's where he won me, and I was like, I'm coming to Duke, bro. And it was funny because my whole travel team was all from California, so most of my travel team teammates went to UCLA.
Gotcha.
Matt Barnes and Jason Capono and Baron Davis and Ray Young, and everybody was UCLA Bruins. So everybody thought that I was going to be the next UCLA Bruin.
Oh, you played with some snipers, bro.
Yeah, they were killers, bro. Capono was he was like a Kyle Korver, like before Kyle Korver.
Snipers, bro. Yeah. I remember watching
Capono. Yeah. So then I went to Grants and Grain, and I went to Durham, North Carolina, and played at Duke.
But you were kind of low key. Your family was a little bit of an East Coast vibe. So did you ever like say, oh, I want to go back? Like,
great question. So in my recruitment, I narrowed it down to 3 schools. My sister went to Princeton up in Jersey. Oh wow. And so St. John's, school, right? Nothing but geeks up there. So, by the way, it's cool to be a geek, guys. Geeks are the ones.
No, I meant that's an amazing school. So everybody knows.
Geeks is cool because guess what? They made the iPhone will work and all this equipment we're using. The geeks made that, by the way. Yeah. So it's cool to be a geek. Anyway, so because she went to Princeton, I wanted to pick a school, at least on my recruitment, that was close to her because she was my best friend. Yep. She's a year older than me, and so she was in Princeton, New Jersey. So St. John's was heavy on my radar. Oh, right? Wow. And then because I told you the background about my travel team being in UCLA, all my travel team guys, I would go there and feel like it was home because I've been playing with these guys since 8th grade. In the summers, right? So UCLA, St. John's, and Duke were my top 3 my senior year. So I go to my first visit is to St. John's. I go to Jamaica. It's in Jamaica, Queens. It's in the middle of the winter. It's fucking freezing. The coolest. I mean, it's like 8 buildings. And they're like, yo, you can have this and you can have that, and then Method Man comes and picks me up, and he's dropping his solo album. Yeah. And I'm a crazy Meth fan, like Method Man fan, crazy Method Man fan. Oh yeah, watch out, clear that. Right, crazy Method Man fan. So then he's dropping his album. We go to this nightclub at the time. It was called the Tunnel. It was like like in the Bronx, it was like small, and it was like all just people that love Method Man and like you know the
this
whole
is like him
Wu-Tang
solo
Clan.
or like Wu-Tang, like
no, this is Method Man with a whole bunch of people, all for his debut album. So he picks me up. We rolling in like in the Rolls Royce. I'm over here like, well, I'm 17. Never been in the Rolls Royce. I've never been in New York, like other than the basketball camp. So we pull up to the thing. There's like 100 honeys outside screaming his name. I'm like, yo, this is so. Then that's one night, and then I get back, and they had a good squad. Like they were like, yo, if Mike Jarvis was the head coach, and if me and Darius Miles decided to go there, we'd have a squad. Obviously, you guys know D. Miles came out of high school from St. Louis, and he had a great NBA career. But he decided to skip college and go right to the pros. And then, so that was that visit. It was epic. And then I get back home, and I go to UCLA. So now I go to UCLA, and it's LA. Oh. It's like, you know, blondes everywhere, 6-foot blondes everywhere, and palm trees everywhere, and everybody, like, it wasn't legal, but everybody was blowing trees back then. I'm like, yo, that's crazy. And then they got Baron Davis, and he's one of my favorite players. I remember seeing him as an 8th grader when he was a junior in high school, and I'm like, this is the best guard I've ever seen in my life. Like, he could do everything. He had no weaknesses to me. So if you guys haven't seen Baron Davis at UCLA, go Google Baron Davis highlights.
Or in general.
Or in the league. Like,
yeah,
before his body failed him with the knees, like, he was one of the best big guards ever. And so he's like, Booz, I'm on campus. And LA's a big, Westwood is a big city. Mm-hmm. And if you guys remember at the beginning, I'm telling you, I grew up in a small town in Juneau, Alaska. So my vibe was more small town-ish. And so UCLA was intimidating to me. It was a big city. I had friends there, of course, and they had one of the best players that I have ever seen in Baron Davis. But it was still like a huge city vibe, and I just wasn't my vibe. And it didn't move me. I'll put it like that, even though it was still probably the favorite at the time. Mm-hmm. It was probably like because I had people there that I could be friends with, and there'd be a familiarity there.
Would have been easy transition.
Easy transition, yep. Right? And that's something to think about, like what makes you feel comfortable when you're making choices like that. Then I go down to Durham, and it's trees everywhere. And in Alaska, there's nothing but trees, you know. The campus is a huge campus, but there's only 12,000 people on it. So it feels like you're on a quad with just 50 people. And then you're walking around, and there's like the campus is built to mirror Princeton's campus, so it looks like Ivy League of the South. It's very like prestigious vibe to it. Oh yeah. And then I'm like, oh, whoa. And then I go to a game. They're playing whoever. I walk in with my parents and my high school coach, and the whole crowd starts chanting, "We want Boozer."
That's crazy.
And I was like. Goosebumps. So I remember this. I got goosebumps when Coach K left my house. I got goosebumps when I walked into Cameron Indoor Stadium for the first time, and they're chanting my name. It was like I'm a big believer in omens and signs and vibes. And so when I walked in, I was like, Mom, I got goosebumps again. Like I knew it was a place for me.
It had to be.
It had to be Duke. And so that's why I tell, even right now when I tell Carmani, Cameron, and Caden, as you guys are going through your recruitment and what you're going to do, go where they love you. Go where it feels right for you. You know, for me, that was Duke. That might not be right for y'all, but you may go to a UM, you may go to a Carolina, you may go to a Michigan, you may go to a Kentucky, and whatever that situation is for you, and that if that vibe is right for you, where they love you, they're gonna ride with you through the good times and the bad, because it's sports. Yeah. You know, you're not always gonna be 35 a night or have 10 strikeouts. You're gonna go through highs and lows. That's sports, and where you can become better not only as an athlete but also as a man. That's your place, and for me, Duke was my place.
Yeah, man. That's the feeling that you get when you I mean, that's when I walked into this place.
Was it like that for you too?
What? Yeah. That was it. The minute I walked in, I go, Dad, I don't care what it is. I don't even remember what Jim Morris, our head coach, was talking to me about in the office. Just from the same feeling that you had when you walked to see the field, just from that, I was like, I'm not going anywhere else. I won't go anywhere else. I don't care what they offer me, what it is. Like, I need to put this jersey on and be here because of the vibe, the people, and of course, it had to do with being home too. Of course. I loved the
born and raised here.
Born and raised. That whole story, I love that part. But so all right, when did you commit? When did you commit to Duke?
Late. I took my time. So there was still I left this part out, but I had maybe 15, 20 NBA scouts at every one of my games since my junior year of high school. So there was an element where a lot of my friends were like, "Man, go pro. Everybody's going pro." I'm like, I was like, I really love college basketball. Like at that time, I was always watching March Madness. I wanted to be a part of that. I wanted to have a chance to win a championship, and that was my goal for myself. Like it wasn't the outside noise of everybody else. Like, thank you for your opinion, thank you for your thoughts, but I got my own path and I got to walk it. So, but there was a part of me that was like, damn, should I go pro? You know,
the risk part.
Yeah, just like the interest. Like the ultimate goal for an athlete is to play at the highest level.
Yeah.
Right. And so there was interest with me coming out of high school to go pro. I was 6'9", I was 245. I'm putting up ridiculous numbers. But to be honest with you, I was 17. I graduated at 17. I was a young senior. And so I always felt like college life would help me physically, of course, but mature-wise. I felt like I was immature. You know, I'm chasing honeys and thinking about, that kind of stuff.
Like a regular
17-year-old. Yeah, like I'm
17-year-old.
My mind wasn't really like, let's go make this a job. Yeah. I wanted to still have fun with it. And I felt like my path was through college. And so I go through the McDonald's All-American game. Making that was it's the top 24 players in the country when there's like 1 billion people playing basketball. To be named to the Mickey D's was a big deal for me. Coming from Alaska, there only been one other guy that ever did it before, in Trajan Langdon. And I'd be the second guy coming out of Alaska to make it to the McDonald's game. So that was a huge deal. And so right after the Mickey D's is when I was like, you know what? I called UCLA and I called St. John's and I said, guys, I really appreciate you guys recruiting me and taking the time to get to know me and my family, but I'm choosing Duke. And then I called Coach K and I said, Coach, I'm coming. And then that was right after the McDonald's game.
Dang, bro. Hey, that's a crazy question, because now I'll tie that into like business too.
Yeah.
Like, how hard were those 2 phone calls to tell somebody that you're not going there? Like,
Oh.
I bet that was a big step for you
Yeah.
as a kid.
My mom and my dad were like, these other 2 schools put a lot into you. They came to every game. They had a scout. They were, I think it's good for your development and your maturity to make a phone call and just be like, tell them your decision. Whatever that. My mom and dad left it up to me to make my own choice, because they told me from day one, like, we're not going to have to live it. You will. You're the one that has to get up at 6 a.m. to practice. You're the one that has to stay late at midnight to go get shots up. You're the one that has to study and cram hard for your tests. Like, we can't be the ones that choose this for you. You have to choose it for yourself. And so when I made my choice and I told my family I want to go to Duke, they were like, you need to be a man and call the other coaches who spent time on you. And so I did. And one of them was, I don't put people out there like that, but one of them was real pissed.
Really?
I think it might have, I think in his mind, it might have cost him his job. Because I was the guy that probably would have put it over the top for him, like to maybe go to a Final Four or whatever the case may be. And when I decided to go a different direction, I think he just felt like, and I don't know how you put that on one kid.
Yeah, man.
I'm not a big fan of that, because you still got the guys that are there.
Yeah,
like
bro.
You still got grown men, 20-year-olds on campus working out every day. Like, we just got done going to the weight room. You have to coach who you have. The hand that's dealt, that's what you got to play. Yeah. No matter who comes or who doesn't come. So when he did that, I was like, dang, that's who you really are. And it's interesting. Pay attention when stuff doesn't go the way a person wants.
How people react.
How they react, because that's their true colors. And so I was like, I'm so happy I made that's when I knew I made the right choice, right? So imagine you have a bad game, which happens to all of us, right?
Everybody.
You go through a drought or you whatever it is, you have a bad game. How would that coach would have treated me in that moment when he had tore me down and made me feel like I was beneath the earth or whatever? And in that moment, I told my mom and dad what happened, and my mom goes, that's how you knew you made the right choice.
Crazy, man.
It's crazy too that he's like, I could have been the guy to go Final Four. He did go to the Final Four.
Yeah.
That guy could have been like, see, you got that.
But it's crazy, because like, the world goes around, bro. Yeah. And I'm sure you don't have to say who it was, but like, I'm sure
karma's real.
You've crossed
paths
again,
for sure.
At some point,
for sure.
And it's a different. And I'm sure you don't hold it against
them,
right?
No.
But somewhere deep in there, you'll never forget that.
No, I remember it. I feel like it's one of those things, like, I believe in karma, like what you put out comes back to you, maybe in different forms, right? So that's why I tell my kids, like, be good to everybody. Like, you never know what may happen. You may need a job one day, and you make a phone call and they give you one because you were nice to that guy. Or you dated the girl that was his daughter and you were nice to her and you guys are still friends, and because he's like, yo, you were great to my daughter here, I got a job for you. Or you went to a certain school like a UM or FIU or Columbus High School, and the brotherhood is that deep, or because you're a good person and good in the community and you're a stand-up guy or stand-up person, they will reward you with that later. So karma happens. Whatever, it wasn't meant for me to go to your school. It's not my fault that you didn't reach whatever goal you wanted to reach for your career. but this is the path for me.
Yep.
And so I bumped into him many times after that, and he's, like, Booz, my bad, blah, blah. And I'm like, it's all love, man.
Yeah,
all
that's
love,
nice. That's good. At least he realized.
Yeah,
it, right?
we all make choices.
We've had that conversation a lot too, like with his son and stuff. Like the whole with his son, and then like other like friends and clients of the past. When like I remember, I'll say his name. When Sammy was going through like his decision of going pro or coming
to
here,
UM,
and I would tell him like we would go back and forth in 2 cents, and I'm like, Booz, this is what happens when a certain team offers this kid that. At this point,
because I wasn't aware of this kind of stuff,
right?
Yeah, bro.
And I was like, there's no school, but if they come at him with this, then school goes out the window.
Yeah.
If not, but I've always told them I'm pro school.
Yeah, he's always pro school.
Me too. Bro.
I'm always pro school.
Then again, I went to school too.
And I tell him that too. I'm like, I can't tell a kid not to take X amount of money because I was never in those shoes. You know what I'm saying? So maybe if somebody would have came to me out of high school with this kind of opportunity, I might have said yes.
Right.
But like, I'm older now. I've seen friends, past teammates go through certain things. I've learned, certain things through their experiences. And I'm always pro school, always. Unless catastrophe hits, whatever.
Of course.
9 times out of 10, school is going to benefit you in multiple ways. Like you said, maturity.
But I do believe, and I've been very fortunate through you to be cool with Sammy. Sammy made the right choice for him.
He did.
He made the right choice for him.
But I just like in the perspective here, like you understood now. You understand like how it works, and why it worked out for him. Or
what's crazy is that when you talked about brotherhood and stuff like that, like I pitch Miami so hard to kids, especially from here, because I've seen what being born in a place like this, coming to a school like this with the people, the type of people that you meet, bro. Just alone, like making those connections and being able to have those people around you and on your side. I mean, bro, it's worth valuable. a lot of money.
That holds a lot of weight.
Stepping foot on this campus and just shaking hands and meeting people and networking, like you said, is worth a lot.
It's true. I mean, bro, like, there's been times where I've came here without either of you guys, and I'm sitting in, either this suite or that suite over there, and this or that, or I'm down here with HR, or this or whatever, and then I'm with you guys, and then we're somewhere else, and I could go in a different place, and it's like, oh, like you work with such and such at UM, and it holds weight, like you said, it holds a lot of weight, and sometimes as kids you don't realize that because you have like one goal and you're trying to be the best pitcher, you want to first base, whatever it is, and you don't realize that life is bigger than basketball, football, whatever. And after you leave here, if it doesn't work out how you planned, like you said, a job's on.
Everything is right there.
Opportunities on the table.
Can you tell me? Let's talk a little. Let's get a little real with it. How did it feel to be the number one basketball player in the country? Be in high school, be in high school, because you only had one high school, so there was only one dog around.
You know what's crazy though? As rare and as crazy that is, his household has 2 of them.
It's crazy.
That's true. But from your eyes, we'll talk about your kids. I'm sure they try to keep something away from you, bro. You know what I'm saying?
You know what it is? It's like it's rankings, right? And it is a huge honor, and it's super dope to be number 1 in the country. But how do you know? Think about it. Like, how do you know that like this kid's going to be the kid that goes pro? Or this is going to be the next LeBron. Or this is going to be the next whoever. Like I was very proud of it, but at the same time, I was like, I got work to do. Like I felt like there was a kid somewhere that I never heard of.
Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying? Like think about this. Like we're over here talking about all these studs in college and how they're going to be number 1 pick in the draft, and then a guy like Jokic is the late second round pick. Okay, nobody's thinking about him as now. Look at him 5 years, 7 years down the road. He's the number 1 player in the world.
Period.
There's nobody. You can't tell me there's a guy that does more for his team than what Jokic does for his team.
No.
You know what I'm saying? And nobody was talking. So I'm honored that I was number 1, but I had a humble beginning. I had a humble mom and dad. And they were like, look, I don't care what your ranking says. You got to get better.
Yeah.
Like you go left, your left is all right. My dad kept it real with me. Like your jump shot is good. It could be better. You know what I mean? So that's why, like, even now, like when Cameron's number 1 in the country, I'm always challenging him like, well, did you make your teammates better? How many points did Benny have? He's our shooter. You know what I mean? Did you get every rebound you could have got?
Yeah.
Because he is number 1 in the country and he is the best player in high school. But I got to get him ready for what's coming next. What's coming next is all dogs. And the difference about college now is, and you guys know this, the portal is real. So you got 25-year-old dudes playing against 18-year-old freshmen. Yeah. Because now you can stay in school for 5 years and get a COVID year for another year, and you can jump around and you get to play right away. Yeah. You don't have to wait a year. You get to play right away. Yeah. So, like, me and Mom are doing a good job of preparing Carmani, Cameron, and Caden for what's to come. No matter who's kissing your ass now and telling you how good you are, you got to get better. Because you know what? There's a Jokic out there that can't wait to play you.
There's a Luka out there. There's somebody.
You know what I'm saying?
There's a bad boy
who's coming for you. Yep. He's been watching your highlights on Instagram, and he can't wait to go up against you.
He hates you already. He's coming for you. Not really.
But that's the mentality you want them to have. Like, no matter what you achieve today, celebrate your victories, right? I made the mistake. This is, if I can go back in time, and you guys may feel different about your careers, but when I was growing up, I never really celebrated my victories. I was always looking to, like, what am I going to do next? So that's why I tell my kids, like, listen, celebrate your fucking victories, celebrate your wins, because that moment is your moment. Tomorrow we can worry about getting better. And I was always a guy, like, I win a championship and I want 3. You know, I get an MVP, or I want 2 more. I was that guy, so I never really And so, like, if I could criticize myself on my journey, I would go back to the 20-year-old that got pro, and I would tell you, enjoy this process, enjoy your small victories, because victories are hard to get in the pros.
It's also, bro,
but it also kept me sharp, because I was always like, dude, I want more.
That's the thing.
So you gotta find that balance.
Booz, isn't that crazy though? Don't you think that also
kept my edge, right?
Yeah, isn't that what it was though? Yeah. Like, isn't that what made you that much better than everybody else?
This isn't enough. Yeah, but I think about the conversation I had with Kobe, who was like my big bro since I got drafted, and Kobe was like, you know, I can outwork every one of these motherfuckers. I was like, Booz, watch me today in practice. All right. Go on practice. He makes every shot. Like, we shoot spots, and he's 18 for 20 every spot. We go through a whole practice. We win the scrimmage. Practice is ending, and we do suicides. He wins every fucking suicide. This is 37-year-old Kobe Bryant.
Oh, yeah.
So let me put it in perspective for you guys. This is like, he's won 5 championships. He's been to 17, 18 All-Star games. He's won 2 gold medals. He's got scoring titles. He's made $1 gazillion. You know, he's one of the most accomplished athletes you can be in your sport. And he's 37 years old and still finding motivation to go beat the young guys who were Jordan Clarkson and Julius Randle at that time when they were rookies in sprints and every drill that we had in practice. So, like, I was the same way. Like, I wanted to always, even though I had accomplished stuff, I wanted more. And so I tell my kids, like, celebrate this victory tonight, and then tomorrow we get back to work. You got to have that balance.
Yeah. It's crazy, because I fight with myself, and me and Rick talk about it all the time, and even with Pete too. Like, it's the obsession.
Yeah, you got to be obsessed.
Is what makes you crazy good, and then it's almost like taking a break for a second and just like putting your head up out of the water and like taking a deep breath and be like, wow, I've come a long way, and then going whoop, right back under, right? And it's like, you can take those small victories and be like, yo, this was awesome. But then again, bro, like, why'd you get to where you were? Is because you were sickly obsessed with the grind, the process. Like, the championship was cool, bro, but like getting back in the gym was even better.
Right? I think that comes when you get older, though. I think it's very hard to try to understand that as a kid, because we all had that in common. Everybody, you know, it's tough. It's tough to meet a 8-year-old kid to sit back and be like, wow, I just won this AAU tournament. I just beat Bronny.
Yeah.
Like, let me sit back and just, like,
enjoy.
Now you want to beat the next kid.
Or you want to beat him again.
Or you want to beat him again. Just to make people like, I am really better than whoever, you know?
Right.
Like, it's 17, 18 years old. Just think about that. Like, you're really raw in your brain. Like, you're a child. Some of these kids don't look like children.
They're children.
You're a child. Like, it's very hard. But, you know, that's part of why I love what I do, because a lot of, like, with my training and stuff, I talk to these kids, and it's like, I try to get their mind to understand, like, it's beyond the sport. It's get their mind to understand that, hey, look, it's bigger than baseball, basketball, football, whatever it is. Like, you got to understand that this happened because of this. You got to realize that this didn't happen because you did do whatever, you know,
whatever the case may be.
But it's very hard. Us as adults and people who went through it, it's kind of hard to have a 17, 18, 19-year-old kid to kind of think how we do because we have the experience.
Yeah.
They don't. You know, it's tough, man. It's very
So
tough.
the great thing about that is we're older, right? We lived it, right? So, like when I'm talking to my kids, I'm talking to them from a place of experience.
Yeah.
So that's the difference. Like I didn't have a dad that made it, right? I didn't have a mom that made it. I did. And so I feel like part of me, like God blessed me and chose me to be the one to make it so that I can teach them give them that, like, listen, guys, me and mom are going to make sure you guys stay sharp, stay humble, and grind and enjoy the process. And a lot of that has to come from within themselves. They have to enjoy it themselves. But we're also here to tell you, like, go ahead, go celebrate. Like when they won state this year, back-to-back state championships for my twins, one of the seniors on the team, this is his last time ever playing basketball. Like he's going to college, he's going to go into his dad's business of real estate or whatever. That was his last game ever playing meaningful basketball. So he was like, Mom, if we win it again this year, can I throw like a crazy house like you see in the movies?
Yeah.
And his mom and dad were like, you know what? Yeah, it's going to be your last game playing. So we let our twins go party till 3 a.m. and they're 15 with the seniors at the house in a safe environment, but there's like 300 kids at the house just having a blast. And guess what? The next day, 3 a.m. at 7 a.m., they were getting shots up.
Oh,
so like, I understand that me at 17
isn't
them. But I also understand that I got the chance to go through this path so that I can school them to not make the same mistakes I made. Celebrate your wins. We can go grind tomorrow.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I was like, fuck the celebration. Where the gym at?
Yeah.
I was a kid that would skip the after party and go right to the gym.
Gotcha.
So I'm happy that I have the knowledge to be able to pass it down so that they can enjoy their wins, their victories every step of the way while they keep grinding.
And still kind of like grow up. Like
yes, man.
Yeah.
Be a kid.
Like be a kid.
That's why I'm not a big fan of the prep school thing. I'm a big go to prom, have a girlfriend,
yes,
like go be a child.
Be a kid.
You got
man.
plenty of time to grow up and pay fucking taxes. Plenty of time for that.
Bro.
Yeah,
you ain't lying. The man comes, bro. You always get it, bro. You know what's crazy that you say that because I thought about it too as I got older, bro. I think that's part of recovery.
Right.
Like the fact that you.
Right.
I sometimes think that maybe I overworked myself. Right. Like
push the body too far.
Yeah, and push the body too far. But the fact that maybe you do relax and like the importance of like letting loose, having a different. It's funny. A scout came to my house when I was in high school. The same scout that drafted me actually out of Miami, Ralph Reyes, and he asked me in high school. He goes, "Hey, for all the at-home meetings and stuff with all the scouts, the pro scouts." He goes, "Hey, what do you do for fun?" And I go,
"Fuck nothing."
I go to the cage.
I go, "What do I do for fun?" I go to the cages, bro. Right. What are you talking about?
Right.
And he goes, "Nah, man. Like, you don't have any hobbies?" And I go, "I suck at video games. Ping pong, I'm kind of whack at.
Right.
To be honest, bro, all I do is go to hit."
Because he knew about the balance.
And he was like, "Okay." And I was like, I thought I was, kind of in the Kobe mindset, like
that's the right answer.
Like, who the heck?
Yeah, I'm doing the right thing.
And that was the right answer. I wasn't lying.
No, that was you.
I was really telling the truth. And I thought I was looking at him with 3 heads. I'm like, bro, don't you want a guy that's an absolute animal?
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Bro? Like you're lost. Dude. Yeah. This is all I do.
Yeah.
And then as I got older, I'm like, damn, I know what that homie was talking about.
The balance. Yeah.
But you see, you were a kid.
I was a kid, though.
It's hard to understand that as a kid.
But then again, I go back to the point, which I hate going in a circle, but damn, maybe that sickness was what got me to where I did. You know what I'm saying? Maybe I wasn't going to get there if I did take those breaks early on. You know what I'm saying? It gave me that mentality to push through. All right.
It's a great message, man.
Yeah. Talk to me about getting onto that campus, bro. Talk to me into getting into Duke, bro. How did that feel? You were the guy. You were the next thing. Like, how was that, bro?
No, and it's something. Getting on campus was amazing. Like, it was like, whoa, I'm here. Like, I'm part of this. Like, let's go. And then there was something that Coach K said at my house when he came up there, and he was like, if you want to start, you got to earn it in practice, because you may be the number 1 player this year, but I got a number 1 player from last year. I got a number 1 player. Like, you're going to play with Shane Battier, lottery pick. Jay Will, lottery pick.
Yep.
Mike Dunleavy, lottery. You're going to play with other studs. I got 13 All-Americans on campus.
Dogs.
Yeah, and they're all studs. So he's basically like, when you get here, you got to earn it. And so when I got there, like our first workout was OD. Like we go right to I'm thinking I'm in good shape. I just got done, winning state championship, McDonald's game, all these highlights. I'm like, yo, I'm the man. I get to campus, and I'm at the bottom of the totem pole.
Done.
We're outside. The first workout wasn't even a basketball workout, bro. I'm like, yo, so we get outside.
Where's the ball?
Yeah, like we got to get to campus, and our trainer, Willie's like, yo, meet us at the track. And so me and Jay Will get to the track, and we're like, what are we doing here?
What
like,
you at the track for?
Bro, we ran. It was like an hour of just conditioning, right? So we ran like 4 12s, and we ran like 10 8s, and then we ran like 6 like straightaway 100s, and I'm over here like, am I in fucking track team? I'm literally like, Jay, what the fuck are we doing? So then we go from there to the weight room.
Oh boy.
And I wasn't like a scrawny 17-year-old, but I wasn't like cock diesel either. I'm in the middle, and so we're lifting weights, and we're lifting with the football team, bro. These dudes are fucking animals, bro. They got like 8 plates on this side, and I'm over here like, what is this? What are these guys like? Arnold Schwarzenegger? Like, what's going on?
What the heck's going on here?
And I'm 17. Like, what's going on? And then I look at Coach Willie. His name's Will Falcone. I look at Coach Will. I said, Will, are we touching the ball today, bro? And he's like, no, I got to make sure you guys are in shape to touch the balls. And I looked at Jay Will like, what the fuck did we sign up for, bro?
I want to go to UCLA.
So the whole
send me back to Alaska.
Right. So the first week of training was that. It was all condition. We didn't touch a ball the first week on campus. We did sprints, track work, and lifted weights the whole time because they knew the ACC's fucking physical. You kids are coming out. He's coming out of Jersey. I'm coming out of Alaska. Dunleavy's coming out of Oregon. And we're about to step into the ACC, and there's men in here. Like, you got to go against dudes like Booz. You're going to have to play against guys that are 300 pounds. You're 245. They're going to move your little light-ass Alaskan ass out the way. You got to get in the weight room and get some muscle on you. And I didn't know that. I'm just coming in thinking I'm about to go hoop and throw up my 25 and get to the league.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I'm just here for a little bit because I'm out.
And so what I would tell you to your listeners out there is this, like, every time you level up, it'll take a new version of yourself to be successful there. Yeah. Right? So I was successful for high school. But I got to college, and guess what? Everybody I played against was the man in high school.
Yeah.
Everybody was a stud in high school. Yeah. They were #1 player, McDonald's All-American, Gatorade Player of the Year, state champion. They had accomplished everything I had accomplished too in high school. Yeah. And so now you go from high school, like I told you about my son's teammate who was a 2-time state champion, but will never play basketball again. So you go from that teammates and competition to going against guys who won state championships and want to be a pro too. So you're going to, like, iron sharpens iron. Yep. You're going against guys that have the same talent as you, same grind as you, same dreams as you. Will you outwork them? And that's what it hit me. I was like, yo, so everybody in college, when you get to UM and you're going against pitchers or first baseman or whatever, they all got dreams of being fucking pros. They were all badasses in high school. Yeah. And you don't realize it until you realize the work that you're doing is the hardest work you've ever done in your life. Yeah. And it hit me like, dude, I'm working. I said, my mom calls me. She's like, son, like, what? Why you don't sound like you're smiling? I said, Mom, everything hurts. She goes, what you mean? Everything. My calf, my ass, my hamstrings, my arms, my chest. There's muscles I don't even know they exist. They hurt. I said, Mom, all I've been doing is lifting weights and running sprints. She goes, do you ever play basketball? I said, no. She goes, well, it's coming. Just, it's coming. I'm like, Mom, I love you, Mom. But I'm like, the first workout I told you about, where I was running all the track and I was in weight room, I go in our weight room, I bang a Gatorade and I threw everything up. My first workout, ask my boys, Jay Will, I threw everything up after my first workout.
It didn't even go back down.
Nah, bro, I was just, it went down, it came right back up. I had never worked that hard ever, and I think what I learned is what you want is attainable if you're willing to sacrifice to get it. Because if it was easy, everybody could get it.
Right.
But you hear that and you don't know until you actually walk the path and you're walking that fire. And then you have that conversation with yourself. And you've probably been there and you've probably been there. And you had this conversation with yourself and I had this conversation with myself that first week. And I looked myself in the eye in the mirror and I said, Los, how bad do you fucking want it? Because you have to have that conversation like, are you willing to do this shit every day, day after day, to make it? And I was like, I fucking want it. Like, I'm not going back to where I came from.
Nah.
Yeah.
And so I kept going. And I kept showing up for myself. And that's what it takes.
That mentality, though, that mentality that you had or that you needed to get through that is why sports is just beautiful, bro. Like, that's
it separates,
beauty.
man.
Yeah. That's the beauty.
It separates
sports.
the people who want it and people who don't.
I personally, I tell him a lot, I personally really feel like this. I feel like there is nothing outside of sports that can prepare anybody for life like sports.
Mm-hmm.
Like, literally, like every athlete you know can probably make it in anything else in life.
Mm-hmm.
As opposed to like a regular civilian that's
because the mental toughness.
Just the mental toughness that.
Yo, I'll go all the way back to the story of his mom.
Yeah.
When he got into that AAU camp and putting yourself in those tough situations. Not enough people have fear and let fear determine the rest of their life. But like in sports, a lot of times we didn't have a choice.
Yeah.
Like it was like you walk into that room and you're like, hey, I got myself into this. I gotta figure it out. Like back isn't an option. Like, for you going to Alaska, you might say it now, but like when you were then, you were like, oh man, I miss home. But I ain't going home.
Right.
Like
100%.
You weren't going home.
I miss DC, but this is home now.
Yeah, exactly. Like I used to think here, like I'm like, dude, you could ask Rick, bro. We had days that we were sitting under these palm trees dying because we couldn't get up and walk anymore. Yeah. And it was like, dang man, I don't know if I should come back tomorrow. But like I had no choice.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think people give themselves too many choices.
Yeah.
In life.
Too many outs.
You know what it is?
Too many outs.
You know what
and it makes
is,
it too easy.
I think that comes with that mental toughness because people kind of accept normality because they're just like, oh, that's okay. There's like athletes don't think that way because we don't have time for failure because like you said, everybody's just as good as I was.
Yeah.
Everybody is. I don't have time to fail. If all right, cool, I failed today. Tomorrow I have to work because tomorrow I cannot fail.
Yeah,
there's no failing.
On that, when I got to the league, one of my favorite coaches is Jerry Sloan. He was my head coach in Utah, and one of the things he said, he was like, I had a bad day at practice. I was going through a divorce and whatever, and I came with that baggage into practice, and I had a horrible day of practice. And he pulled me aside to practice, and he goes, Booz, you all right? Oh yeah, just stuff with the ex or whatever, and it's just weighing on me a little bit. He goes, it's all good, man. Life happens, and sometimes life is a bitch. He goes, I'll give you something that somebody told me when Jerry Sloan played back in the day. He goes, I'll tell you something that somebody told me when I played. You can have a bad day, but you can't have two in a row.
Yeah.
He's like, so I look forward to seeing who you are tomorrow. And that's just what you're a human being. You're gonna go sometimes life happens, you're gonna make mistakes, so you're not gonna have the energy. But you also have to appreciate what's in front of you because there are people who will give their left arm
to be where you're at.
To go to be a Miami Hurricane.
Yeah. People
give their left arm to have a chance to be in the minors and have a chance to go pro. People will give their left arm to be on the Utah Jazz and be coached by Jerry Sloan. And you have to put that into perspective because you didn't go through all that shit at Duke or all that shit to let this slip away now. So that was like just to go back to your point, you can have a bad day, but you can't have two bad days.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of sports, I'm telling you.
Let's hit that because it's crazy that you say that, and I've heard you talk so well about your head coach in Utah.
Yeah.
And like, yo, you got heat for going to Utah.
Oh,
bro.
yeah,
like,
man. Oh,
people
big
hit
time.
you hard for it.
For sure.
And I'm sure if it was in this time, you'd get even hit harder,
For
obviously
sure.
with social media and all that crap.
Yeah.
But like decisions like that, like how much has that paved the person you are as well as all the decisions you've made prior to that, right? Like, and taking those risks and taking those jumps, like how important was that decision to you? Obviously, nobody knows the business.
No.
Right? Like, nobody knows that. But at face value, like, you had to make that huge decision. Like, how do you think that shaped the rest of your life?
Yeah, it's important. I think ultimately, and I tell people don't know. So I got drafted by the Cleveland Cavaliers, second round. I was one of the few second round picks that got a 3-year contract. I went summer league, I destroyed summer league, and they were like, "Damn, this kid can really play." They gave me a 2-year deal with a 3rd-year option. So my 2 years were up. I was averaging a double-double, like 15 points, 11 rebounds, playing with LeBron his rookie year. We were like a game and a half, 2 games outside of the playoffs, and I was like a vote away from being an all-star that year. So I was severely underpaid based on my performance. I was making like $700,000, give or take, and the guys that were doing what I was doing were making like 10 to 15 million. So the owner of the Cleveland Cavaliers brought me into a meeting and was like, listen, it was like I understood that they were going to take away my 3rd-year option, which would have been at like $1 million, and present me with a new contract, like 6 years, I think it was $40 million, was what they could offer me. And so I was like, okay. Like, I'm just sitting there in the room like, okay. Like, it's your choice. Like, whatever. Because it wasn't my option. It's a team option. So I'm like, all right, whatever. But I was also excited because that's more money than I'd ever heard about. I'm like, about to change my whole life's trajectory, right? Yeah. So he takes away my option. And literally, I go to a basketball camp in New York to help out some kids, teach some kids some basketball drills in New York. And my agent calls me, Rob Pelinka, who's now the GM of the Lakers. Rob Pelinka, RP hits me and goes, Booz, can you talk? And I'm like, yeah. What's up? And he's like, I got 4 teams offering you $70 million. Because it goes viral. Once everybody knows you're on the market, there's other teams that want your services. Yeah. And so he's like, we didn't really make a commitment to Cleveland because it's against the rules. It's called tampering.
Yeah.
So, and I'm learning the business of basketball in real time.
Yeah.
So
ain't no prep.
This is just like you're thrown in the fire and you got to make a choice.
Right.
And so I'm like, well, I want to stay. I love playing with Bron. I love D Miles. Like, I love my squad, Big Z. Like, Cleveland fans have embraced me. Like, I want to stay. And he's like, okay, so I should call. I said, yeah, call Pax. Let them know what's going on. Tell them to up the bread so we can stay. So he calls. And Pax is like, what do you mean? Like, we just let you out of your contract. We're going to give you $40 million, blah, 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 blah. And Rob is like, I don't know why you're yelling at me. Like, he's saying he wants to stay.
Yeah.
He just wants to get paid a little bit more because this is his market value. Yeah. Like, my job is to present him with what's on the table. What's on the table is I got the Atlanta Hawks, the Bobcats, the Denver Nuggets, and the Utah Jazz, who are 4 really good teams, offering him $30 million more than what you're offering him. Sure. So that's my job, is to present him with the facts.
Yeah.
And then it's up to my client to make a decision for him and his family. And so I said, Rob, I want to stay. So he tells Jim Paxson he wants to stay. And he's like, Rob, you're putting me in a fucked up position because I have a week to make moves. And he's like, well, what are the moves you have to make? I'll help you. He goes, we have to trade 2 players to create the cap space to keep Carlos. And he goes, well, who are the 2 players? And he goes, Ira Newble and Milt Palacia, or Kevin Ollie. We have to trade Kevin Ollie and Ira Newble to create the cap space to keep Booz. And Rob goes, so why aren't you on the phone? Like, Kevin Ollie is not an all-star.
Yeah.
Ira Newble never plays. Carlos is going to be an all-star next year.
Yeah.
And he's going to basically help you win a championship in a couple of years with LeBron.
Right.
So what are we talking about? Like, it'd be different if you're saying, like, oh, we got to trade D Miles, who's like an all-star and stuff.
Yeah.
But you're trading 2 guys who, are tradable contracts. They're not going to break up the element of our core pieces. So in that moment, Jim is like, I can't do that. I got to get permission from the owner. And Rob again goes, well, why are you making a phone call?
Why are you talking to me?
And so Rob calls me back and he's like, look, they got to make 2 moves and trade 2 of your teammates to make it happen. I was like, well, listen, they don't even have to give me 70. If they gave me 60, I'll be happy and I'll stay.
Yeah.
I'll stay. Like, I'm not an idiot. I'm not going to turn down 30, but I'll turn down 10.
Yeah, no, 30's not a smart move.
No, right. No, you never know if you're going to get hurt, if it's going to be your last contract ever. You never know. It could be the only contract I would have ever got in my life.
Yep.
So I got to be smart and make the right moves. And I'm not a scientist, but I know math pretty good. Right? So
I know millions.
Right. So long story short, they didn't make the move. And I'm forced for this decision to choose between 4 places, and I love Utah. I was a huge Karl Malone fan.
Yeah.
I was a huge Jerry Sloan fan when he played with the Bulls back in the 70s. And it would look like Alaska.
I was about to say, bro, it's a little
like Alaska,
vibe, bro.
There's mountains, there's snow, it just reminded me of home. And so for me, it was Utah. I said, Rob, if they won't make the move and I got to make a decision tonight at midnight, I'm going to Utah. I'm going to go learn from Karl Malone and Jerry Sloan, and I'm going to go fucking snowboard. Damn. And then I'm going to Utah.
My man still goes.
Yeah, I'm going to Utah. So we called them one more time, like, we love to stay, but if you're not going to make the move, then we're out. And so we're out, and we go to Utah. So I get heat because the narrative was out there that I had agreed and shook hands with the owner to say that I'll sign with you when you take away my option. I never did that. And I got a call from the NBPA, our Players Association, and goes, Los, did you make an agreement behind closed? I said, no, I did not. He was like, because if you would have re-signed with Cleveland, it would have been tampering. We would have done an investigation, which is what happened to a guy, number 1 pick in the draft. His name is Joe Smith out of Maryland. He signed, I think it was Golden State or whoever drafted him, he made an under the table deal, maybe Minnesota, under the table deal. It was tampering. They did an investigation. They found out about the secret meeting, the handshake. He got offered like $40 million more by other teams, turned it down because he made an under the table deal, and they lost him and like 5 years of draft picks because of it.
Wow.
And so you made this is the league is telling me you made the right choice, because we would have put the Cavs in a hurt locker with draft picks. So you got LeBron this year, but there's no Kyrie Irving coming. There's, you know what I mean? So everything works out how it works out, and I wasn't the guy that was going to sit here and and say, oh, well, I told Jim he could have made the move I wanted to. I just let it play out, and I said, you know what, I'm going to go to Utah. I'm going to fucking kick ass and be a stud, and these are the decisions that I learned, because in my opinion, everything I went through as an athlete, with on the court, business of basketball, again, because of where I am now at 41, is so I can teach my kids how to maneuver and how to navigate their paths when they get older. So that's how I look at it. And even though it was a tough decision, for me it wasn't, because I'm like, I told you I want to stay. You got to make moves that's not going to hurt the team, but you didn't make the moves. I put the ball back in your court, and you didn't make the move, so now I'm going on to Utah. And once I say peace, I'm out. I don't.
Done.
What's that one song? I don't miss nobody. I'm on the next thing. I'm out.
Aside from that, like, personal experience, how crazy would it have been, like, if you said that's the next 6 years with LeBron James?
Yeah.
Like, how crazy would, like, the trajectory of the Cavs?
Like, think about when he took that team in 2007 to go against the Spurs.
Bro.
If he would have had me by his side,
like, there would have been
like, he's taking on like a dynasty by himself.
Yeah.
But now you got me. Who knows who else might have came on the team, because we're loaded now. And next thing you know, we're competing, and he's got a squad now.
I just thought about that. I'm like, that's crazy, because like his first stint in Cleveland was he had nobody.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like,
they let me go.
With nobody.
They let me walk.
You would have had another All-Star.
They let me walk.
Things could have been. That's crazy.
But it's funny, because when you're in that situation, right? Like, the business, bro.
Yeah,
like, they get to hide. They get to hide all those moves that they didn't make, or all those things. But then again, you're the one that has to show your face. Yeah. You're the asshole too, right? Not only the athlete and the asshole that didn't sign.
So then
they offered you $40 million.
So then I call Bron, and I'm like, Bron, this is what's going on. He's by the way, Bron's like 18.
And how old are you?
I'm 20. I'm turning 21. Like, let's put it in perspective. We're like jits talking about millions and then how the face of a franchise and what to do. And I said, like, I want to stay. I want to rock with you. I want to rock with our squad. But I'm getting offered $30 million. He goes, Booz, when they gave me $100 from Nike, that shit changed my whole life. Take the bread, bro.
Go get your money, bro.
Like, go get your bread, bro. This is coming from, like, and so I'm talking, and then I go back and I call Rob, and I said, Rob, I really want to. Our team is so close. I really want to fucking stay. They can't make no fucking moves. And he goes, Booz, I can't make them make. They're not making the decision. So now it's up to you.
Man. That's nuts.
Dude,
I'm just trying to think, like, what that could have been.
What if?
I'm like,
what if, right?
Oh,
what if?
Yeah.
Hey,
like,
how does a guy like LeBron, how does a guy like LeBron James at that age, bro, did he always have that type of, like, just business mentality? He's always good at, because, bro, it looks like he knows how to, like, play chess with everything.
I tell people all the time, like, it's eerie how prepared he was to step into the league out of high school. It was like, I don't know if it was his advisors or if he's just a fucking alien, but he knew exactly what he stepped into. Like, he was mature. He was obviously our best player at 18. No question about that. He had everything. Like, it was like Nike gave him $100 million. They don't give out $100 million.
Yeah, they're not just handing it.
It was
out,
like
bro.
Griffey and Jordan at the time that ever had $100 million from Nike, right? And then LeBron comes, he got $100 million. Literally, like, was so good at, like, Booz, stand right there. Trust me. On the during the game, stand right there. I got you. Come off the pick and roll. He loved, like, being a decoy. Like, people would all gravitate to him defensively, and he just throw the lob, and I go get him, bang that shit. And he's 18, like, being able to see the floor this way, which I had never played with a guy that young with that IQ. And then off the court, like, we go play in Cleveland. We go play. He's from a place called Bath. That's where he built his career at. It's like in between Akron, where he's from, and Cleveland. We go to a place called Bath. Go to Cleveland State, play pickup, and he'd be like, Booz, man, like, we're gonna be squatted next year, right? And then I get this fucking deal from Utah, and I'm like, bro, I want to stay. And it's like, and the first thing he says to me was like, when they gave me $100, it changed my whole life, bro. Go get the bag, man. Now, you got a wife, you probably don't have kids soon. Like, go get the bag, bro.
Yeah,
the maturity for him to say, do what's best for you and your family, as opposed to what's best for me and my team.
Right.
Yeah, like he wasn't an individual. No. Not even in that point at 18 years old. Not even in that
moment. He's like, bro, you got to do what's best for you and yours.
I can't even imagine saying that at 18,
That's crazy,
bro.
because now
I can't even say that language. I don't have
seeing how that made so much sense after seeing how his career developed, because he's
take
always
my talents
been like,
to South Beach.
He's like a player executive.
Always, he's been that way.
He built players around the Miami team.
Yeah.
He went back to Cleveland, got
and
brought J.R. Smith. Got Kevin Love.
Then to LA
doing the same thing. Like he's kind of been a owner VP while still playing.
While being a player.
Yeah.
Yo, hey, selfishly, bro, I know you've told this story 8 billion times, but dog, my favorite story ever is the Prince story, bro. I know you tell this time. You're gonna have to keep telling this story. That's the best story ever. Yeah. And selfishly, I want it on my podcast, bro, because I know it, but I'm gonna let you tell it because. Oh my gosh, I cannot believe that, bro.
So I get the deal from Utah.
Yeah.
You know, I go out to Utah and
go get you a little pad.
I'm trying to get me a crib. Like I want to move in LA because all the ball players live in LA in the summer. The summer pickups is crazy, and it's LA, palm trees. I'm older now. You know, I'm married. I'm having a good time. And so I go look at a crib. I get this crazy house, like 18,000 square feet in Bel Air. It's got 10 bedrooms. Like, it's got everything you want, right? Guest house is 5,000 square feet. Got a basketball court on a rooftop. Crazy-ass pool with a grotto. It's crazy. Buy the crib. My ex-wife, Cece, decorates the whole crib. Everything is gorgeous, like Italian rugs and all type of shit. But I play for the Jazz. So I leave the house in L.A., lock up, fly to Utah, getting ready for the season. Like, and this is like around Halloween. You know, we kick off, and then I would say around Thanksgiving, like a month later, I get a call from my real estate agent in L.A., Roxanne. She goes, "Los, somebody wants to rent the house out." I said, "Well, the house ain't for fucking rent. It's my house." So we hang up, whatever, go back to training, whatever. Got a couple games, and then she calls me back and was like, "He really wants the house. The person really wants the house." I said, "Well, tell him it's really not on the market." Right? So then the third call, she hits me back and she's like, "He's willing to pay $95,000 a month." And I was like, $95,000 a month?
I talk that language. Yo.
I was like, yo, I'm not even gonna be there for 8 months, so it's all love. You know what? Let's make a deal. It's on the market. But my math, like I said, my math's pretty good, right? So for a year, $95,000 a month, I'm making $1 million plus. Let's do it. So I fly out to LA to do the contract. I don't know who it is yet, though. By the way, I don't know. It's under a company name. So I fly out there. Me and Roxanne sitting there. Limo pulls up, and the person gets out the limo. And it's fucking Prince. And I look at Rox. I said, "Rox, is that fucking Prince?" And she goes, "That's fucking Prince."
At the top of the game too, right?
Like, yeah, like he's Prince, bro.
Yeah,
he's always at the top.
Not. Yeah, like aura.
Yeah,
like a human.
No, he's like a mythical, like a fucking unicorn, like a mythical creature that you exists, but you're never gonna see it in real life.
Yeah.
And so he's walking up, and he's small, but he's small, got swag to him, got the shades on. He pulls up and is like, Booz, big fan, man, crazy player. And I'm like, yo, he's a fan of me, bro.
He knows me.
He knows me, bro. I'm like, yo, I'm a big fan too. Like, my parents probably had me to your music, Casino, where they listen to your shit, you know what I mean? So we walk around the crib, show him the house. He'd been there a million times because it was owned by like an executive of Interscope, and he was getting divorced. So he had been there a bunch of times. I was very familiar. We go up to the rooftop. I got a full basketball court, so we're hooping. He had a great jump shot, bro.
Yeah, really.
Might have made like 8 in a row. I was like, yo. He's from Minnesota, so he's a huge Timberwolves fan, and we're talking about Kevin Garnett. Yeah. And I'm like, man, KG he's everything. Like, there's nothing this guy can't do. 7 feet, he can guard everybody. He feels like KG put Minnesota basketball on the map, and he probably did. Yeah. Kevin Garnett was the real deal. So, talking about KG, all is love. So I leave, sign the contract, I go to Utah, play my game. I tear my hamstring. I hit Prince up. I said, "Prince, I'm going to come to LA, check on the crib. I got to go see this physical therapist named Judy Cito, who's the best physical therapist in the league, and she worked for the Lakers. So I'm going to go rock with Judy." No answer. I get to LA. I pull up to the crib, and it just looks very different. So, like, on my gate, I had like a 12-foot gate. It had 2 gold lions. The lions were gone, and there was some fucking symbol. And I was like, what the fuck is this symbol? I had no idea that he had changed his name to a symbol. So on the gate is this big ass symbol.
His name, he had his name.
And I'm like, what is this shit? So I thought I went to the wrong house. So I go up the street even further. I come back. I put the address in Navigate. It was like MapQuest back then.
Yeah.
Put that shit in, and I come back to the same spot. I'm like, this is definitely my crib. And then I put the code. The code worked. Shit opens up. So I'm like, okay. So I drive up, and like even as I get up to the crib, there's like this little staircase, and he puts like this purple carpet on the fucking staircase. And I'm like, what the fuck? And it's that same symbol. I'm like, what's going on? So when I go in the crib, everything is different. There's no Italian carpet no more. It's like black carpet and purple carpet. You know, I go into one of the bedrooms. It's like he turned one of the bedrooms into a hair salon with the little thing the girls
Oh my
use.
God.
Another room is a massage parlor. Then I'm like, yo, there's picture of this motherfucker everywhere. Like, you see my man Jersey? Nah, it's a picture of Prince. Like, I'm like, what the fuck? It's just him. Mind you, it's just him in the house.
By himself.
He's living by himself, bro. There's no wife, no kids there. It's just him. So then I go into my weight room. It's like I had a monster weight room. We turned it into a nightclub, which actually was pretty dope. Never had that in the house before. Yeah, so like it had like a little DJ booth, the disco ball shit. It was crazy. So, but I'm also living. This is like the biggest investment I've ever made in my life. It was an $8.6 million house, paid for it. And I'm like, my house is not my house anymore. So I'm calling P. I said, P, yo, I don't know what happened, but my house is not my house anymore. Like, call me back. I want to work this out. Hang up. No answer. Call him the next day. Bro, I went to the guest house. The guest house is like a scene from a fucking Scarface movie. Like, what happened? Like, what's going on? Hang up. No call. So this goes on for like 3 months. I can't get a hold of my man. So
it's also Prince.
It's Prince. So I'm like, bro, so... Did I got the right number? Like, yeah. Did he, you know what I mean? Did he give me some bullshit number? Yeah. So I call him again and no answer. So I'm like, I say, Pete, look, I don't want to do this, but I think I'm going to have to sue you. Like, this is not part of our contract. You can just change up my house however you want. Well, who the fuck wants to sue Prince?
Nobody, bro.
Nobody. So
Carlos Boozer suing
Prince. Right. Shit goes viral. So then he called me like maybe 2 weeks after that call. And I just happened to be able to be by my phone. So I pick up. And he's like, Booz, don't worry, man. Like, I just wanted the house to feel like mine. And by the way, I'm not a homosexual. It's cool if you are. I'm not. Dude has like the smoothest voice.
Really?
I was like, yo, Prince's voice on the phone was crazy.
Damn.
Like crazy. He's like, Booz, don't worry. All of a sudden, all my worries left.
You're like, okay.
Yo, yeah. Like, I won't worry, bro.
Got me. You got
Yeah.
me.
He was like, don't worry. Like when I move out, it'll be like I was never there. Don't worry.
Wow.
And so then he wired me $500,000 cash to my account. I come back in at the end of the summer when his lease is up. I get up there and it was like he was never there. So let me tell you how much bread Prince had. He rented my crib for basically $100,000 a month for a year. 18,000 square feet that my ex-wife decorated. He took out, put in storage for a year,
Jeez.
and redecked the whole house out. Then he paid the money to take his stuff back out and put my stuff in down to the forks. And wired me $500,000 just to ease my mind.
Just because.
And he literally was in Asia on tour for his album for like 4 months on tour, and he just wasn't by his phone like that. And then as soon as he moved out, it was like he was never there, bro.
So he must have took pictures and everything.
Like if you go to the 3121 album, the whole album cover is my house. Crazy, bro.
Yo, bro.
True story.
That's insane. Yo,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Are you good on time, bro? You're good?
Let me see.
Nah,
Yeah, I'm good. I got a couple more minutes.
Yeah, a couple more minutes.
Yeah.
That's it. I just wanted to kind of end it with, bro, like, now that you're going through everything with your kids, bro,
Yeah.
like, how excited are you? And talk to me a little bit about that brotherhood that has been created at Columbus, obviously, understanding how much love there is there and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's great, man. I'll be honest, man. Like, when you raise kids and they find interest of what they're into, you never know if they're going to excel or be successful. But, Carmani's doing a great job in baseball. He's working out with this guy over here, getting stronger, getting his velo up. He's a pitcher. And then Cameron and Caden are twins who are, like, at the next level. Like, they're excelling crazy. They won 2 state championships. Cameron's number 1 in the country, won the Gatorade Player of the Year over all the seniors this year. Caden's number 15 in the country, doing a great job at point guard, passing the ball to his brother, and everybody else. And they're being recruited by everybody, which is awesome. I think one of the biggest things that I'm excited for with them is that they have a mom and dad who went through it. Right, so I met Cece as a freshman on campus at Duke, and she went to NC State. So every step I went in college and in the pros, she was right there with me. So she knows it from a mom's perspective, well, a girlfriend's perspective, but she lived that life with me. Yep. Right, so from mom and dad, you got two people who live that life and can help you navigate through, you know, in this landscape with social media and like I talked to you about the distraction that they have living in Miami. You know, they have two parents, and there is that brotherhood where there's, you know, we got Jose Mas, who's a big friend of the family who went to Columbus, and different people who really look out for the boys and give them great tutelage. And, you know, I think it starts at home, but it extends. Like, it takes a village to raise even one kid, let alone, I got 4. So we have a dope village, I'll put it like that. That's helping raise everybody.
No, bro, you guys are doing it great. I see them all the time, bro. Yeah. Congratulations.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
You're doing the right thing. I appreciate you jumping on.
Of course, man.
I swear I had questions. I never ended up asking anything that I planned, but I appreciate you, bro. This is
of course,
amazing,
man. My pleasure, man. Thanks for having me. Thanks for having me.
Yo, it's a movie, bro. Yo, I appreciate that, dog.
We gotta get a photo while we up here, though.
Let's do it.